Alright, here we go again. It's end of December. We're getting ready to go into the beginning of the new year. And the one thing that's bad about this time of year is there is nothing to do. Hunting season's over. Bass fishing, you can go if you get the right conditions. Trout fishing's kind of okay. But the thing that's really easy to do this time of year is to think about all the things that we love to do and just spend ridiculous amounts of money. I am probably one of the most guilty people on this planet as far as having a bait monkey on my back. And it's not just fishing, it's hunting too. The more I sit around in the winter, the more I dream about what am I going to do in spring, what am I going to do in summer, fall. You know, I'm remembering all the good times that I had all year long and thinking, how can I get ahead? How can I have an edge? You just end up down this rabbit hole of buying stuff. At least I do. It seems like every day you get on YouTube or a forum or you're getting an email from somebody like Tackle Warehouse where they're giving you some incentive that they, it's a 20% discount, or you see one of the new pros is throwing a bait that you've never seen on tour and they're whacking them and you're like, well, that's got to be something special there that's changing the game. I've bought so much stuff over the years. I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars, especially in fishing, on things that I either never used or have only maybe tried a couple times. I won fantasy fishing top 10 in the country twice, 2 years in a row, back to back. I'll put some pictures up and show you what that looked like. Tackle Warehouse sent me an insane amount of free stuff when I won those. It wasn't first place. I think one was 8th and one was 9th, something like that. I don't remember. It's been a couple years. But I already had a boat full of stuff already. And so you'd have thought that I'd have quit buying stuff at that point. But I'm going to tell you, I did not. I got back into heavy smallmouth fishing and I just went crazy. I still had some stuff that I thought would work well for it. But this entire bag, I mean, that's nothing but finesse smallmouth baits. And, there's just packs upon packs of different baits and different colors. You know what the number one thing I normally grab for in the river is? A TRD. Why do I have 75,000 different baits if I'm gonna fish that one every time? It's because you always think that there's that one chance that something's gonna be a little bit different, and it's not usually the case. It's usually a technique. It's usually you're fishing too fast, you're fishing too big. I mean, I've got hundreds of packs of Kitex in different sizes. Look how big that thing is. That's a 5.8. There's not too many places that I even fish where a 5.8 would be a reality. Now, I know they'll hit bigger baits. But look at this thing. I've never even opened these. These are the 6.8 Kitex. I might try that just to say it did. Hundreds and hundreds of crankbaits. You know one thing I don't like about cranking? Is a bait with a bill like this. Now, that's not even a real big bait. I think that's like a 5XD maybe, 4XD. Oh, maybe it's not even an XD. But, I got quite a, here's a 6XD. But I've got all these giant crankbaits, and I hate throwing them. I don't want to chuck and wind a crankbait for hours and hours on end. Buy the baits that you really like, and just stick with those and forget everything else. I can tell you one thing I'm never going to try. I don't know what this big deal is with this turd bait that they've come out with, but I don't see how that's any more effective than a Senko. Like, we're going to hook a turd on and throw that out for the fish. It just goes to show, in my opinion, that goes to show you that they'll eat anything. Find something with low action when you need, in cold water. Find something ripping fast if you're, burning it across the surface like a buzz bait. I think the technique matters way more than the baits. Like, here's a regular frog. This is a live target. doesn't want to focus. But that's a live target frog. But one of my favorite baits for topwater is the live target mouse. Now, my buddy Mike turned me onto this mouse a long, long time ago, and it is by far one of my favorite baits. I guess what I'm getting at here, and I don't want to ramble on forever, is just stick to what you know. The things that you buy that are, quote, game changers usually aren't game changers. There's those solid core groups of things that are always going to be good, you know. A Cut-Tech, it's going to be pretty good. I've got big ass swim baits that I never fish, you know, because the application's not right for me for where I'm fishing. I'm not going to throw a 6-inch HUD when I'm fishing for a 1-pound smallmouth. They might bite that. Who knows? But you can waste a lot of money on baits, tree stands, camo, side-by-sides, right? We're getting ready to come back into that season soon. We're actually going on our first ride this weekend. And part of me wanted to, you know, buy 30s for it because I'd like to gain an inch of clearance on the buggy because it sits pretty low as a 4-seater. But when you sit back and look at the reality of things, the tires that are on it, there's no reason to change them right now. All it is me thinking that there's something just a little bit better. Very rarely is anything that little much better worth spending your money on it. You'd be much further ahead to take any spare money you have and throw it in the stock market and just let it cook. I wouldn't go crazy buying baits. I might have to start giving some of this stuff away. I've given a lot of it away to kids that come to the house over the years, and I'll probably give more of it away at some point in time. I've got more than me, my son, and all my friends can use combined. In fact, when they come out on my boat, I just say, don't even bring anything but a rod. You're not going to need it. If you want something in my boat, you can reach down in and get it anytime you want to. I'll end this with a real quick story about the difference of a bait and how you might not be able to even capitalize it, even if you have a bunch of different baits. I used to fish Bass Nation here in Pennsylvania, and I drew a lot of really good co-anglers. One of them is Jesse Joden. He's here on YouTube. If you haven't checked him out, you should go check him out. But he's an unbelievable caster. He will demolish you out of the back of a boat. Another co-angler that I had, his name is Zach. I can't think of his last name off the top of my head. I think it's Zach Bullish. He fished with me in Erie. And so to get going on this story, we were out on a grass flat right outside of Presque Isle Bay, and we were fishing spinnerbaits. And he was absolutely demolishing them, and I couldn't buy a bite. He was throwing any direction out of the boat on that grass flat and just ticking the top of the grass, and they were just smashing it. He loaded the boat from the co-angler side and won. And I think I had one fish to weigh in at the end of the day. He had bought that spinnerbait, a Nichols, the night before on a whim while he was out walking through the aisles of, I think it was Field and Stream at the time, up in Erie. I had like 45 different spinnerbaits in my boat. And there was something about that bait, something about his line combo, the sound. I couldn't replicate it no matter what I tried. I tried all my spinnerbaits, and then he had other spinnerbaits that weren't the one that he was using, and I tried his too. And I still couldn't make anything happen. And he was crushing them. There was that one instance there where, was it the bait, or was it the setup, or was it how he was cranking? Was his reel slower? You're just never going to know. You can try to plan for all those possible scenarios, but it's just throwing money down the drain. Go out and fish, go out and hunt, and just kind of see how it goes. It's not supposed to be like a recipe to always win. I think fishing does a really bad job about selling you the idea that you can always figure out a way to win. I don't think that's the case.